existence of the greatest creator. Open the windows, the sunlight and fresh air will come in. Take a broad view, you will see the faraway mountains fresh and green. Stay and study in Lifechanyuan. A new life will begin. You will see clear scenes of paradise. Once we calm our minds, we can feel that there is a supernatural power in control of the movement of the universe and the birth and death of all things and the track of human life. No one can deny the fate, yet no one can grasp his own fate. Everything about us seems to be prearranged by certain powers, and we are only moving according to the life courses assigned to us. So, does this supernatural force really exist or not? Is there a supreme intelligence manipulating everything? If not, then how did the universe come into being? Where did the diverse and varied life on Earth come from? And if there is such a supernatural force, where does it reside? What form does it take? Is it like a human? What are its characteristics? Why can't we see it? Does it care about human society? How does it manage this vast universe? How can we come to know it? 26. Life and death, a phenomenon puzzling mortals and laities. This earth sees the birth and death of a huge amount of animals and plants every day and every moment. Life and death is a universal phenomenon in nature. Everyone has embarked upon the journey to death since the moment of his birth. The happiness of life and the sadness of death are the basic emotions of mortals and laities. A family will be bursting with happiness at the birth of a baby, and a family suffering loss of a relative will be overwhelmed with extreme sadness and grief. With the exception of the Jesus and Buddha Sakyamuni, who are so transcendental and free from vulgarity and have such great wisdom, few can escape from this enigmatic circle and understand the real signification of life and death. The tragedy of life lies in the lack of enlightenment and in the inability to escape from the transmigration of life and death. For thousands of years, people have been seeking the way to immortality. Modern medicine and science are also probing into the secrets of longevity. I wonder why people are so happy about life but so grieved at death. Seeking life entails endless troubles, and seeking death brings infinite benefits. What would the world look like if none of the plants and animals on the earth dies, and if our great-great-great-grandparents survive till today and each family has a thriving population? Some will think it would be best if all of them die and all of us survive. Well, suppose they all die and we all survive. See if we are better off. It would be okay as long as we can distinguish who they are and who we are. We must know at the same time that everyone wishes the same as you and me. Then in the end, who are to die and who are to survive? Is it so good to live and so bad to be dead? Take a look at human history, pay a visit to your neighbors, and ponder over the question of what good there is to live and what harm there is to die. Let's forget about the time immemorial and talk about the time from Sakyamuni till present. How many people have lived a good life and how many have died a bad death? Let's take the examples in Chinese society. Antenatal training has been provided even before a baby is born. Abandoning harmonious melodies of nature, the greatest creator, God, and Buddha, people spare no efforts to inoculate the fetus with the imperfect music of mankind. Immediately after birth, adults try every means to provide the little babies with toys and cartoons instead of having them get in touch with flowers, birds, insects, and fish in nature. Before the age of schooling, the children have begun their preschool education, learning piano, painting, kung fu, and dancing. They have no opportunity to bring their own instinct into play nor have fun in nature. When the children have just begun to know about the world around them, they will be burdened with heavy and formless pressures. In addition to the heavy school bags and the endless homework, adults spare no efforts to add extra education for them. Moreover, endlessly lecturing began to pout on to children. You must compete, You must score top marks, otherwise, you won't be able to succeed. Child, I'm doing this for your own good. You must study hard, strive to be an excellent student, and in the future, you must get into a prestigious middle school, then a top-tier university. Otherwise, there won't be a place for you in this society. Why are you so indulgent in play, my child? Look at someone like Xiao Ming, who never wastes time playing around. See how successful they are? You really should learn from them. And so on and so forth, leaving the children utterly bewildered and unsure of what to do. Once in middle school, the sprint for the 100-meter dash begins, with relentless days and nights spent crazily studying and endless participation in exams. Teachers and parents tirelessly push and oversee, while society mindlessly extols elitism, submerging the brilliance of human nature in an unending cycle of darkness and confusion. Will their college life be relaxing? Is it supposed to be easier once you're in college? Not really. Among classmates, comparisons in terms of food, clothing, accommodation, and transportation are trivial matters. What's even more serious is the forced indoctrination in the realm of ideology and in blind, boundless pursuit of knowledge. While universities are meant to be places that nurture noble moral character, the majority of them are not fostering natural, living individuals, but rather cultivating robots that have lost themselves. Uphold the family honor, bring glory to the country, and make the nation proud. This fosters narrow-minded perspectives. Furthermore, some institutions and organizations go to the extent of educating college students on how to make their first pot of gold, how to achieve rapid success, and how to have attractive individuals revolving around them. It's an era that one cannot help but worry about. Graduating from college, true agony begins. Countless paths lay before, where to go, what to do. Enormous chasms between ideals and reality, intangible conflicts between ethics and self-interest, coupled with the pressure to get married, buy a house, purchase a car, stand out from the crowd, and more. All of these shattered the sense of direction for college graduates, fragmenting their once intact spiritual selves, creating a distressing sight. Even for those who didn't make it to college, the conflicts and anguish within their hearts are even more indescribable. Marriage and starting a family do not necessarily lead to a sheltered haven. Heart-wrenching matters frequently arise. Providing for elderly parents and raising children are natural responsibilities, which people can endure. What becomes unbearable are the frictions and battles between spouses, coupled with the occurrences of life's inevitable events such as birth, aging, illness, and death, as well as love and separation, resentment and attachment, desires unfulfilled, and unexpected events. All of these elements stir up chaos in what could have been a beautiful life. We see people on the streets, each of them looking vigorous and elegant. But once we get to know their inner world, we will find every one of them emaciated and fatigued. Many people in my neighborhood are rich businessmen. They all have villas, servants, and limousines. Then they should be happy and satisfied, right? The answer is no. When I chatted with them one day, one of them said, "Actually, if I have $1,000,000 RMB, I will be doing well in China." Another person, as if he has heard the talking of an alien, taunted, "A million? What can you do with it? It is barely enough to buy and decorate an apartment." Another said to me, "I heard you are writing a book, right? You are a little old-fashioned. Don't you know that in today's time you are everything if you have money and you are nothing if you don't? Make haste to earn money." Yet another person, a woman, preached, "Nowadays money is God. How many copper coins is conscience worth?" I was overwhelmed. I shuddered. No wonder they grudge every second and every penny and regard money above everything else. I see the world is ruled by goblins, devils, and monsters. Am I wrong? Or am I the real devil? Or I don't fit in with this world at all. I feel that life is suffering and human life is rightly a sea of suffering. The sea of suffering is borderless. Please return and repent for salvation. Return? What is return? Returning is death.
VHYD?
For living is worse than death. How to die? Nirvana. How can nirvana be carried out? Self-improve and self-refine. How does one self-improve and self-refine? Raise consciousness and increase wisdom. What is wisdom? Wisdom is the supreme and complete understanding of life and death. How can one acquire supreme and complete enlightenment? By understanding what is life and what is death. Then what is life and what is death? That one is inexplicably brought into the world as a result of karma is called birth and life. That one rushes about blindly and departs the world unjustifiably is called death. Birth is accidental. Is death inevitable? Both birth and death are inevitable. Since both death and birth are inevitable and individuals have no choice and cannot resist, then why do we have to understand life and death? By understanding death and life, one can cast off life and death. How can one get rid of life and death? One can do so by reaching the realm of no birth, no death. What is the realm of no birth, no death? Elysium world is the realms of no birth, no death. What is Elysium world? Elysium world is one of the 36 dimension spaces, namely the world described by Jesus and Sakyamuni. Is there really such a world, or is it only a tale? Yes, there is. I am telling the truth. Then please demonstrate it to me. I cannot, because it is another time-space, which is invisible to naked eyes. The mirages that occur occasionally are part of Elysium world. Then there is no way to see it? Yes, there is. What way? By the spiritual sense. What is spiritual sense? A man has 6 sense organs of eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body and mind, which are respectively responsible for the 6 senses: vision, hearing, smell, taste, touch, and spiritual sense. Spiritual sense is the perception in everybody's consciousness and a spirituality apperception. Why cannot my spiritual sense have such a capability? Because your spiritual sense is too dull. Why is my spiritual sense dull? Because it has been polluted. What has polluted my spiritual sense? Your spiritual sense has been polluted by images in nature and the values of human society and your prejudices. Then how can I restore my spiritual sense? By awakening to truth. What is awakening to truth? Awakening to truth means getting to the bottom of a phenomenon. What is phenomenon? Phenomenon can be anything that we see through vision, anything that we hear through hearing, anything that we smell through smell, anything that we can know through our taste, and anything that we acquire through our sense of touch. According to you, there are too many phenomena. Yes, Buddhism talks about 84,000 Dharma gates, but actually Dharma gates are unlimited. What is Dharma gate? Dharma gate is a method that seizes a phenomenon and through it, comprehends the essence, the ultimate essence, and the very essence of its true nature. What is essence? Essence is something concealed, which causes the occurrence of certain phenomenon. Then what is the ultimate essence of essence? The substrate causing the essence is the ultimate essence. That is to say, the greatest creator is the ultimate essence? Yes. How do we get to know the greatest creator? This book of mine can enlighten you on the understanding of the greatest creator. Oh, I see. What do you see? The birth of man is like falling into the sea of suffering, and so it is something lamentable. The death of man, however, is like being severed from the sea of suffering, and so it is something delightful. Yes, but not entirely so. Why? Because death is not the final resting place. Why is death not the final resting place? Didn't you say that man will enter the Elysium world after death? Death is only a surface phenomenon. Behind death is the transmigration of life. Some people will return to the human world after death, some will become animals after death, some will enter the 1,000-year world, and some will go to the 10,000-year world. Only a very limited number of people will go to the Elysium world after death. So how can we feel happy if some people are even worse and are more miserable than in the human world after death? Your preaching about pre-existence, next world, and transmigration of life is too inscrutable and incredible. How can we believe in something that cannot be proved by science? Science is materialism. Science cannot prove what is beyond the material world. But the universe is composed of material and non-material. Science can only prove half of the universe, not the other half. Take my consciousness, for example. How big is it? What color is it? How heavy is it? What shape does it have? Science cannot provide answers to these and many other questions. Therefore, you cannot completely negate what cannot be proved by science. Then can you prove that man has pre-existence and next world? Yes. One is the records about pre-existence in history, which can be found in the literatures of many nationalities. Another is the record of facts by International Near-Death Research Institute. And the third is the descriptions by the sages and saints like Jesus and Sakyamuni. These are only legends, hearsays, or religious doctrines, and thus are not convincing. Can you come up with something new? Yes, homosexuality is an example. The rule for the biological world is that like sexes repel each other and unlike sexes attract each other. So why is there homosexuality? And why the homosexual love can be so dear to risk one's life? This involves the gender of his, her, pre-existence. If a woman has a pre-existence as a man, the inertia of biology will continue to play its role and will incline her to instinctively like a woman instead of a man, although she has become a woman in this life. When she meets a woman with the same pre-existence, they will chime in easily and fall in love with each other. In the same way, if a man has his pre-existence as a woman, then he will still like man in this life. Instead of morbidity, homosexuality is a spontaneous instinct, which may fade away with the passage of time. In addition, there is a saying that rivers and mountains may be changed, but it's hard to alter a man's nature. What is true nature, and why it is unchangeable? Nature is the innate characteristic. When does nature come into being? From primary school? From the time of while in mother's arms? Since the time of an embryo in the mother's body? Since the time of existence in the womb? Or since the combination of the sperm and ovum? If nature starts from the time mentioned above, there is no question of hard to alter a man's nature. Then we can conclude that nature has started centuries before, which is something deep-rooted, unlikely to change in a relatively short period of time. We can observe people around us or study on some special people. Then compare with the habits of some animals. We can easily figure out that certain people possess original nature of certain animals. Thus we can conclude that such people may have been certain animals in their pre-existence. For another example, for thousands of years philosophers and thinkers have raised the question, who am I? But failed to answer. Who am I? Am I my family? No, because I am still me even without my family. Am I my clothes? No, because I am still me after I have undressed myself. Am I my teeth? No, because I am still me after I have lost all my teeth. Am I my hair? No, because I am still me even if I have become bald. Am I my eyes? No, because I am still me even if I have become blind. Am I my legs? No, because I am still me even if I am amputated. Am I my heart? No, because I am still me after organ transplantation. Am I my blood? No, because I am still me even after I have blood transfusion. Neither this nor that, then who on earth am I? Well, I am Tathagata. What is Tathagata? Tathagata is the essential origin, the consciousness, soul, that already exists beyond the flesh and is enduring hardships in the world by living in this home of my flesh. When this home of my flesh ceases to exist, I am still there. All that I have to do is only to find another home. This is just like crossing a river. I borrowed a boat, but I would give up the boat and go on shore after I have got crossed. Buddhism preaches that an enlightened heart gives rise to insight into nature, and an insight into nature secures Buddhahood. If we have understood this principle, we are already Tathagata Buddha. We will go directly to Elysium world after death and don't have to come to the human world to continue the hard time. Well, all so much for the simple introduction of life and death. My purpose is not to consider something as it stands, but rather to make it clear that the irreversible question of life and death is determined by the greatest creator, and that life and death has its purpose and meaning. Without the greatest creator, there would be no life, let alone the question of life and death.